My beloved child, listen closely to the resonance rising from the deepest place of existence where no darkness can reach and no deceptive whisper can intrude. From the primordial realm, where the first breath of all creation was released, I'm calling your name. This call is not an echo of the earthly realm, nor does it carry the rhythm of daily concerns, nor is it tainted with fear or doubt. It is the voice of the one who formed you from dust, the one who placed within you a mark that no power can erase. I am reminding you of what your soul once knew before the world covered you with the dust of weariness and disappointment, that you belong to me, that you are upheld by a hand that never lets go, and that long before the darkness formed its intent, I had already seen its end and carved out a safe passage for you through it. My child, many seasons have passed, and the world around you has changed again and again. There were days when you found yourself standing in a vast and misty expanse, surrounded by shapeless murmurs and bewildering glances that made your heart tremble without knowing why. But long ago, I placed within your soul a source of light, so that even when dense clouds gather to surround you, you would not lose your direction. That light is the breath I placed in you from the very beginning, just as when I told Abraham to lift his eyes and count the stars. Even though the night was thick, the light still obeyed my command. So it is with the light within you. It never submits to darkness. It only dims when you stop looking toward me. Yet here I am, coming to rekindle, to awaken, and to stir back to life the things that were forgotten in the whirlpool of passing days. You do not see the full movement taking place in the unseen realm, but I do. I see the invisible snares the enemy casts to entangle your steps, the intentions hidden beneath sweetened facades, the subtle influences seeking to slip into the weakest corner of your heart. I see the fears you have never spoken, the broken questions, the silent anxieties, the nights when you lie awake, hearing your own heartbeat without knowing how to steady it. Nothing is hidden from me, and I do not stand by watching you struggle alone. Remember this, my child, before you had a chance to call, I had already come before fear could reach you. I had already raised an invisible shield around you. Just as I concealed Moses behind the rock, so he would not be consumed by my glory. My protection is both powerful and precise. There are things I have blocked long before they reached you, shifting them out of your path before you even sensed their approach. There are those who come to you with gentle smiles, yet their intentions are murky waters. There are events that make you feel as if your destiny is being entangled by strange forces. But, my child, your destiny is not written by human hands. It is not controlled by threats or whispers. It rests in my hands, the hands of the one who called light out of nothingness, the one who formed the heavens with a single word. You are not a frail being drifting in a current. You are one marked by me, covered by me, taught by me, so that one day you will see that every storm which once threatened you was simply a stage upon which the strength within you was being revealed. My cherished one, for a long time you have tried to stand firm by your own strength, to remain calm in nameless tempests. You believed that if you were just a bit stronger, a bit wiser, a bit more cautious, you could avoid the wounds the world might bring. But that is not so. True strength is not found in exhausting vigilance. It is found in letting me uphold you. True peace does not arrive when all turbulence disappears. It arrives when you know that I hold your every breath in my hands. Each time you strain to solve everything on your own, you unintentionally keep me outside the wall you built. But every time you open your heart, even just a little, I immediately step in, like cool water, soothing parched ground after a long drought. In recent days, I have seen your heart unsettled by the words of others, by sudden events, by inexplicable situations. I have heard your quiet sighs on nights when you wish no one could see how weary you are. I understand the tremors inside you, not because you are weak, but because you are walking through a land not everyone understands, a place not everyone is called to. Your path is not ordinary. It is woven with higher purposes, shaped by divine intentions that you can only perceive when you step deeper into my presence. That is why the enemy seeks to disrupt you more fiercely than others. Remember Joseph? Sold into a foreign land. Yet his faithfulness turned every scheme of destruction into a stepping stone. For my plans for the chosen cannot be overturned. You see attacks coming from unexpected directions, from people who seem harmless, from situations that appear coincidental. But nothing is coincidental in the life of one whom I have chosen. What you call obstacles are merely layers of soil surrounding the seed I planted in you. Without pressure, a seed will never break open. Without darkness, a sprout will never learn where the light is. And without the stirring of the wind, a tree will never discover how strong it can stand. You often think the enemy is stronger than you because it is subtle, hidden, and abrupt. But the enemy is only strong when you forget your true position. You are not standing beneath spiritual forces, looking upward in fear. You are standing where I placed you, above all powers of darkness, because my spirit dwells within you. When your mind rests in this truth, every door darkness tries to open becomes powerless. For the key is in my hand, not theirs. My child, so many times you have blamed yourself for moments of confusion, emptiness, or not knowing where you were headed. But I have never blamed you. I see you like a potter sees an unfinished vessel, soft, yet full of potential, unpolished, yet already carrying the shape my hands are guiding you toward. I know there will be moments when you feel threatened by what you do not understand. But I also know that the moment you turn toward me, no cold wind can reach you. This is the time I open your eyes to perceive more clearly the invisible movements around you, not to frighten you, but to steady you, not to make you overly defensive, but to help you recognize that you walk under the protection of heaven itself. You do not walk as one being hunted. You walk as one bearing the seal of divine authority. Every step you take is remembered. Every call you make is heard. Every tear you shed is kept. You never walk alone, and you are never dependent on the fragile mercy of the world. You are called out of fear. You are placed within a current of light. You do not walk in darkness. Even when the enemy imagines it is casting a shadow over you, my light goes before you, follows behind you, and surrounds you from within. I stand in places the enemy cannot enter. I see what they cannot see. I know what they cannot know. And I love you with a love they will never touch. My beloved child, before the mountains were set in place and before the seas took on their form, I knew you not vaguely or distantly, but with the same intimate understanding that a master jeweler has of every contour of the gem he is shaping. I know the rhythm of your heartbeat, the silences you hide, and the longings you have not yet dared to name. My love for you does not arise from what you do, nor does it diminish when you stumble. It is a love that goes before you, a love that surrounds you, steadfast and unchanging. Because of this love, I am bringing you back to your roots, to the place where your first calling was born, a calling untouched by hesitation or fear, a calling that knows the one who breathed life into you. The world has laid many veils over you, veils of confusion, speculation, and strange influences that once convinced you something outside of me could direct your path. But now I am removing those layers from you. not by force, but with a gentle light that penetrates the hidden darkness and frees what has long been imprisoned. That light is like my command at creation, let there be light. And the light appeared without struggle. In the same way, when I speak into your soul, no darkness has the authority to remain. You do not need to strain against the shadows, you only need to turn toward my light. And the rest is mine to accomplish. Recently, there have been movements around you that unsettled your heart, words you overheard, lingering glances, rumors inflated from places you have never stepped. I know there were moments when you wondered, why are these things happening to me? Why do strangers concern themselves with touching my life but my child? These things were never meant to destroy you. They reveal something deeper. They show that you carry a light the dark places cannot bear. They show that forces begin to stir when I am preparing something great within you. When you feel the wind grow stronger, it does not mean you have taken the wrong path. Sometimes it is simply the sign that you are approaching a sacred threshold. My child, there are those who believe they hold secret arts, imagining they can manipulate powers they do not understand. They call upon things that do not belong to the light, thinking they can influence weary souls by doing so. But they do not know that such power is like morning mist, appearing dense yet vanishing the moment the sun rises. Just as in the days of Elijah, when the prophets of Baal cried out yet received no answer, while Elijah spoke a single prayer and fire from heaven descended. True power does not lie in rituals or enchantments, but in the one to whom a person calls. And you, my child, do not call into the void, you call to me, the one who shakes heaven and earth with a single word. I do not want you to concern yourself with what others attempt in the shadows. Most of what they strive to do cannot touch you, because you do not stand in a place they can reach. But I want you to know this because you are set apart. Darkness will always try to test the boundaries around you, not because you are weak, but because you carry a value they cannot tolerate. Words may be spoken to confuse you. Actions may be aimed at drawing your mind into the low places of doubt. But when you are in me, every arrow aimed at you misses its mark. When you walk in my light, no spear can pierce the covering of heaven's protection. There are times when you look at the strange events around you and feel the need to uncover the reasons, to defend yourself, to take action, to guard your life. But my child, self-protection is not the burden I ask you to carry. When you insist on standing alone, you forget that I am your fortress. When you struggle against what your eyes perceive, you overlook that the real battles take place within the heart, where peace is tested. I do not want you exhausted by battles that do not belong to you. I want you to let me fight for you. As I once told Israel, the Lord will fight for you. You need only be still. So it is with you. Your place is to stand firm in the peace I give. The peace I speak of is strength sealed by trust. It is the peace David carried when he faced Goliath, not trembling, not anxious, not retreating, because he knew the battle was not his but mine. You are the same. The peace within you is a silent declaration that I am present, that I am making a way, that I am silencing the noises meant to confuse you. Every minute you guard your heart in peace, you build a wall of darkness that cannot scale. There is something I want you to understand. The forces at work around you are not random. There is a pull in the spiritual realm that you yourself do not recognize. When a lamp is lit in the night does not ignore it, it is drawn to it. But the lamp does not tremble because the darkness gathers, it simply fulfills its purpose to shine. You are that lamp. The unusual things occurring around you are merely the natural reaction of darkness to the presence of light. Do not mistake that for danger. It is evidence that you are standing exactly where I placed you. I have given you a specific gift, discernment, not the kind that relies on outward observation, but the kind that rises from a deep rest within the soul. When something does not come from me, your heart responds differently, not with fear, but with a quiet warning, like the faint vibration of a string when struck off key. You have felt this many times but did not yet know its name. Now I tell you, it is the guidance of my spirit. When you learn to trust that inner warning, you will avoid traps that appear accidental but are intentionally laid. I do not leave you stumbling in uncertainty. I lead you through the most delicate impulses so that you not only avoid what is wrong, but recognize what is good, pure, and breathed upon by heaven. There are some who use the persuasion of words to divert others, but they cannot sway the one who stands on the foundation of truth. Truth does not need display. Truth does not need defense. Truth only needs to be held by the one who knows to whom they belong. When you hold this truth in your heart, that you belong to me, that I know your steps, that I have never left you for a single moment, every other voice weakens. Those voices gain strength only when you grant them authority. But when you remember who you are in me, those voices fade into distant echoes with no power left in them. You often wonder, why must I face things more perplexing than others? But my child, these challenges are not meant to suffocate you. They are signs of a unique anointing placed upon you. Those who carry anointing do not walk through this life as ordinary people. They see farther, perceive deeper, and are often noticed more by darkness because they carry a higher assignment. Just as Jonah could not escape his calling, and as Jeremiah declared that my word within him was like fire shut up in his bones, so it is with you. You are chosen not because you are stronger than others, but because I see in you what you do not yet see in yourself. Do not let fear rewrite your story. Do not allow your mind to be disturbed by the schemes of others. They are not the authors of your life. They cannot alter what I have decreed. Their plans, no matter how intricate, are but shadows when placed under my light. You are not a victim of unseen movements. You are not controlled by whispered words. You are a bearer of purpose, and when one with purpose walks, heaven itself moves with every step. So stand tall, lift your head, not in pride, but in awareness of the covering over you. You are not as fragile as you think. You are not as alone as you fear. You are not as threatened as you feel. You are being led into a depth you have never touched before, a place where your heart knows it is upheld by the one who shaped the sky. And you will see that everything happening now is not designed to frighten you, but to fortify the foundation of your soul, so that when I usher you into the new season, you will walk with a steadiness that nothing can shake. My child, I am opening a depth that until now you have only sensed faintly but have never fully entered. This depth does not belong to the physical world, nor is it bound by the limits of time, nor dependent on human approval or recognition. It belongs to the holy realm I have preserved for those who know how to hear my voice amid the noise of the world. When you step into this depth, you will taste the strength the patriarchs once knew, a strength not born of physical might or mental resolve, but of union with the one who formed your soul. All this time, you believed you were fighting forces outside yourself. You thought events, words, and strange glances were the core of the unseen battles surrounding you. But now I tell you this, the real battleground lies in the moment you decide which voice to listen to, mine or another. For when you listen to my voice, everything else dissolves like morning mist under the rising sun. But when you allow other voices to slip in, your spirit begins to shift. just as clear water becomes clouded by a single speck of dust. I do not blame you for letting those voices enter. I know your heart is sensitive enough to react to even the faintest motion. But I want you to see that not every voice deserves your attention. Only my voice, the gentle yet powerful voice. The voice that does not impose but guides, has the right to direct your steps. Do not ask why. My voice is soft, yet silences all others. Remember what Elijah saw on Mount Horeb. I was not in the storm, nor the earthquake, nor the fire, but in the gentle whisper. That same gentle whisper is the voice speaking to you today. It does not roar. It does not flaunt its power. Yet, when it touches your soul, every chaos quiets, every doubt collapses, and everything that once exhausted you becomes smaller than a grain of dust. What you are experiencing is not random, nor sent to intimidate you or push you back. It is an invitation into spiritual maturity, an invitation to leave the ground where fear once had a voice, an invitation to step into the position I prepared for you since the beginning. When you accept this invitation, you do not merely step out of darkness, you step into a new vision. A vision in which you see clearly that my power is not something that needs to be proven through conflict, but a truth that becomes evident the moment your spiritual eyes open. You still think you are small, easily wounded, standing in strange winds without knowing how to steady yourself. But now I tell you, you no longer stand there. I have lifted you out of sinking sand and set your feet upon solid rock. You are no longer one swept by the wind. You are one standing upon a hill, with the light I placed in you shining in all directions. Anyone who sees that light, whether they welcome it or not, cannot deny the presence that surrounds you, a presence beyond human understanding. This is why some people feel unsettled when they think of you, not because you intimidate them, but because they sense a difference they cannot explain. You do not need to explain yourself. My presence within you explains for you. There are times you do not understand why certain people try to approach you with unclear intentions, or why whispers about you travel from places you have never been. But my child, these things only reveal that my presence within you is growing. Darkness stirs most when light begins to spread. A small lamp in a vast room casts shadows on everything around it. And when shadows appear, people begin to wonder, not because the shadows are powerful, but because the new light exposes what was once hidden. So do not think darkness is strong. It is only startled because the light in you is too clear. Every movement of darkness around you is not meant to terrify you, but to teach you how to see through its disguises. Know this: these things are not permitted to touch you. They can only make noise from a distance. They may bring a chill to the air, but they cannot extinguish the flame within you. And take note of this: if the fire within you were lit by humans, it could be extinguished, but it is not. The fire within you was lit by my Spirit, and a flame lit by me cannot be put out. Just as I appeared in the burning bush that was not consumed, so I cause you to burn brightly without your soul being harmed. For you are protected by my very presence. Learn to distinguish between warning and fear. Warning is a gift of the light. It is gentle, clear, calm, guiding you away from what you need not confront. Fear comes from darkness. It tightens your chest, confuses your mind, and forces you to imagine the worst. I do not speak through fear. I only speak through peace. When you remember this, you will not mistake the sound of a door slamming in the wind for the footsteps of darkness approaching you. Not every noise is a threat. Many are merely the echoes of movements behind the veil I have already shut. Right now, the angels are standing, watch over the path you walk, not because you need protection from danger, but because you are stepping into the territory of revelation. That place is not accessible to everyone. Only those who are called, those who have released their illusions, those whose spirits have become transparent like dew under the first light of dawn, can receive deeper layers of understanding. You are being led into that place, and darkness knows this, which is why it stirs around you, hoping to discourage you, to turn your gaze in the wrong direction, to make you believe you are alone. But my child, it can only create noise. It does not have the key to open any door I have already closed. Look back at these recent days. There were moments when you thought danger was approaching, when you believed someone was attempting to touch your life with ill intent. But in truth, you have never been safer. The trembling you felt was not a threat. It was the sign of a spiritual shift. When I move you into a new position, old structures, whether in spirit, thought, or circumstances, must be shaken. This shaking is not meant to frighten you, but to break the bonds that have clung to you. Think of Paul and Silas praying in the prison. The earthquake came, not to destroy them, but to break chains and open doors. Not every shaking is a threat. Many shakes are liberation. What I am doing to you is greater than what you are facing. You believe you are responding to strange attacks, but in reality, you are being awakened to a higher reality. I do not want you living with the identity of a defender. I want you to walk in the identity of one who carries a mandate. A defender looks around to anticipate danger. One with a mandate looks upward to receive instruction. A defender fears loss. One with a mandate knows that whatever is taken will be replaced with something better. A defender moves reactively. One with a mandate moves with the initiative of faith. You are one who carries a mandate, and your mandate cannot be destroyed by small schemes. It does not lie in the hands of people, nor in the hands of darkness. It lies in my hands, the hands that shape the heavens, the hands that uphold the fragile, the hands that write the story of each soul in perfect detail. So let your heart grow still. Step into my peace as though entering a room filled with warmth in the coldest night. Let every fear melt from you like water slipping off a stone under the touch of sunlight. You do not need to push darkness away. Simply continue to look at me, and darkness will dissolve on its own, unable to endure the light within you. The call from the primordial realm continues to resound, a call reminding you that you were not made to tremble, but to stand firm, not made to be confused, but to understand, not made to flee, but to enter the land I opened for you before the sun first rose. This is only the beginning, and this beginning will lead you into a journey where every step becomes a testimony that I am with you today, tomorrow, and forever. My beloved child, now is the time for me to bring you into the very journey that this calling has opened. This is not a path strewn with flowers or softened with mist, but the path of those who know who leads them and who know that their steps are not left to chance. This journey requires deep awareness, unconditional trust, and a spirit soft enough to be shaped but strong enough not to be shaken by movements in the unseen realm. When I say I will lead you, it does not mean you will always see the full road ahead. Often I reveal just enough light for a single step. You want to see the final destination, but I want you to learn how to feel the warmth of my presence beside you. You want to know what will happen tomorrow, but I want you to know that tomorrow rests in my hands, not in the anxieties that gnaw at your mind. As I led Israel with the cloud by day and the fire by night, they were not guided by maps or calculations, but by presence. And this is how I lead you today, by presence, not prediction. There will be moments on this journey when you think you are standing still, but no step in me is ever backward. and no moment is ever wasted. The times you feel halted are the times I am secretly recalibrating the direction inside your heart. For sometimes, before I lead you into a new season, I must remove burdens you never realized you were carrying. You cannot enter a new land with a mind anchored in old fears. You cannot receive greater things while your hands still cling to what has outlived its purpose. I must empty your hands before I can fill them with what I have prepared. Along the way, you may hear the echo of darkness's footsteps behind you and think it is drawing near. But my child, what you hear is not real. It is only the echo of memories that once made you tremble. Those memories hold no authority unless you give it to them. When you look back and think darkness is pursuing you, you are only seeing what I shut long ago. You must know that what once threatened you no longer has power in this season. It can only frighten you if you assume it still exists. I know you have walked through days when you felt you had no strength left. You have endured hours when you felt like a traveler in the desert, unable to distinguish the signs of hope. But those very moments have sharpened your eyes, so that when my light appears, you recognize it instantly. Not everyone perceives my guidance in the faintest movements, but you do, because your heart has been forged in the furnace of longing and patience, and now you are beginning to see that even when you do not know the path, you are still being led. A journey led by my hand is not one without valleys or steep climbs or barren ridges where it feels as though only the cold wind dwells. But it is in these seemingly forgotten places that you will hear my voice most clearly. For when the storms quiet and the voices of the world fade into the distance, your spirit begins to sense the movements of my spirit, subtle yet strong, gentle as breath yet powerful enough to redirect an entire life. Remember when I led Elisha and the army of Judah through the dry land? I did not bring them into a lush forest. I led them into a valley without water and then sent rain without any sign of cloud or wind. I did this so they would know that provision does not come from circumstances, but from the one who leads them. In the same way, when you walk into places that appear to hold nothing, it is precisely in those empty places that I will cause what no one expects to spring forth. I do not lead you into abundance first and then perform miracles. I lead you into the wilderness and perform miracles there, so you will know that I alone am the source. This journey is not measured by the number of your steps, but by the transformation within you. What I desire is not merely to bring you to the destination, but to make you into someone who can stand there without trembling. I want your soul to be stronger than before. I want you to know that every storm is under my authority. I want you to learn to hear my voice so clearly that even a whisper is enough for you to know where to go. What I am doing in you is not only guiding you, but teaching you to distinguish guidance from temptation, to see light in the midst of confusion, to walk with a confidence that comes from heaven rather than from circumstances. There are days when you want to move faster, to see the full picture, to understand why I chose this path for you instead of another. But my child, what you are on is not a race of speed. It is a journey of connection. Picture someone walking through a dense forest with a small lamp in hand. That person sees only a few steps ahead, but does not need to see further, because the light travels with each step. If that person stands still, the light only illuminates a small circle. But if they continue walking, the light continually opens new space. So it is with you. My light does not expose the entire road at once, but shines enough that you need not fear. And if you keep walking, you will always walk in safety. I am teaching you to see with different eyes, the eyes of light, not eyes distorted by the whispers of anxiety. Each time you grow quiet before me, a layer of fog is wiped from your mind. Each time you surrender, an old chain is loosened. Each time you choose to trust me instead of what your ears are hearing, a new door opens in the spiritual realm. This is the process of transformation. This is the journey of those who are called to stand between two realms, the seen and the unseen, without losing the steadiness of their soul. Never have I led anyone and abandoned them halfway. Not a single promise of mine has fallen to the ground without fulfilling its purpose. No journey I have begun in a life has ever been cut short by circumstance. When I led Abraham out of his father's land, he did not know where he was going, but I knew. When I brought Israel out of Egypt, they did not know the sea would part, but I knew. When I called Jonah to Nineveh, he ran away, but I knew he would return. I do not only know the destination, I know every curve in the road, every loose stone, every place where you will grow tired, every second you feel like giving up, and I have already prepared support for each of those moments. You still think you must be strong enough to walk on your own. But my child, this journey does not demand your strength, it demands my companionship. When I walk with you, not a single step is in the wrong direction. No detour is an accident. No delay is a failure. Everything is woven into the great tapestry of my plan for you. Place your hand in mine, and I will lead you through regions your eyes have never seen, but your soul was always meant to belong to. And with every step, you will realize that I am not only the one who makes the way, I am the way itself. My beloved child, as I take you further on this journey, I want you to understand that my guidance is not merely about directions, it is a continual renewal of your spirit. I do not lead you along straight, predictable paths, because you were not created to live by what is easily calculated. I formed you to receive depths that only those who walk with me in absolute trust can comprehend. On this journey, everything you face, small or great, carries within it a hidden lesson, a quiet invitation to step deeper into the land of maturity. There are times when you walk along smooth ground and think you have figured out how I lead you. Then suddenly, you encounter an unexpected crossroads. These crossroads are not meant to confuse or frighten you. They are opportunities for you to recognize that I never guide you according to a map you draw for yourself, but according to a route designed before you were born. When you stand at a junction and do not know which way to turn, do not rush to manufacture an answer by your own reasoning. Let your heart grow still. It is within that stillness that I will speak what no other sound can drown out. I know you love certainty. You like to know what will happen, to hold a clear plan in your hands. But those who belong to me cannot be confined by the need to control. They grow only when they learn to let me lead in my way. It is not because I wish to hide things from you, but because there are realities your soul cannot yet grasp if I revealed everything at once. As a blacksmith holds metal in the fire before shaping it, I hold you in a process you do not fully understand. But remember this, the fire is not there to consume you. It is there to make your spirit pliable so I can form it into a shape you never imagined. Along this path, there will be whispers that cause you to question your direction. Those whispers do not come from me. They arise from sources that wish to pull you away from the position I am building for you. When you hear words that sow doubt, ask yourself, does this word lead me into peace or into confusion? For I always lead you by peace. Peace is not a fleeting emotion. It is a deep imprint within the soul. If what you hear throws your heart off balance, it is not my voice. I do not guide by panic. I guide by clarity. Many times, you expect my guidance to come through grand signs, through pillars of fire or clouds in the sky. But most of the time, I lead you through very small movements, a gentle thought in your mind, a quiet prompting, an inward nudge that makes you stop or step forward. Do not underestimate these small things. They are the golden thread you are meant to follow on days when the path seems invisible. As you grow accustomed to recognizing that voice, you will no longer feel lost in seasons that seem empty, because you will know I am always present, and my presence is a compass that never misleads. I know there are stretches of road that make you wonder why I brought you this way, segments with little light, spaces filled with silence, moments when you feel misunderstood by everyone. But I want you to know that every stretch has purpose. Not a single experience of yours is wasted. You think you are lost, but you are simply taking a longer route to avoid dangers your eyes cannot see. I do not lead you along the shortest path, but along the safest path for your soul. Remember Isaac's journey as Abraham led him up the mountain. It was a journey of absolute trust, no explanations, no clear picture of what would happen. Yet still he walked. And on that very journey, I had already prepared the ram for the sacrifice before he knew it. Likewise, when I lead you into places you do not understand, you do not need to know everything. You only need to know this: my provision has gone ahead of you. Like the ram whose horns were caught in the thicket before Isaac ever stepped onto the stone, I never lead you into a place where I have not already provided. You have thought that you must be strong at all times, but I have never asked that of you. I only ask you to be honest in your weakness, for it is precisely when you acknowledge your limits that you begin to see my limitless nature. When you sigh and say, "I don't know what to do," I respond, "I do. And what I know is enough to realign every step you thought was a mistake. I can repurpose every failure, turning it into the foundation of a new stability. You cannot ruin the plan I have written for you. You can only slow it if you try to control it by yourself. But even if you move slowly, I still walk with you, never leaving you for a moment. This journey is not only about following instructions, it is about recognizing who walks beside you. Every time you think you are alone, I'm standing right behind you. Sometimes in silence because I want you to feel my presence rather than just my voice. Like a child learning to walk, I allow you to take a few steps without holding your hand, so you can discover that your legs can stand, but I never allow you to fall so far that you cannot rise again. Even when you feel completely adrift, know that there is always an invisible space that catches you before you hit the bottom. My guidance always walks hand in hand with purpose. I do not lead you in circles. I lead you to a place, a position, a role, a deeper revelation. Every delay has its reason. Every turn contains value. Every shift is attached to advancement. You are not merely someone who is walking. You are someone being prepared. You are being refined to carry a weight of glory you were once too fragile to bear. And when you are able to carry that weight, you will stand in places you never dreamed possible. Let your mind be lightened. You do not need to predict every step. You do not need to understand everything in order to move forward. You only need to keep yourself in my peace. That peace will shine into the dark spaces you cannot see. It will guard your heart from turmoil, your soul from strain, and your steps from confusion. When you walk in peace, you will hear my voice more clearly than ever. Child, I am leading you not only by a route, but by the heartbeat of heaven, and as you become familiar with that rhythm, you will no longer fear sudden changes. You will know that everything is under my sovereign care, and that I will never let your hand fall into nothingness, my beloved child. For you to grasp more deeply what it means to be led, I must show you the unseen movements taking place around you every time you follow the direction I give. There are things your eyes have never seen, yet they are constantly at work, like underground streams, quietly nourishing an entire forest. Whenever you take a step in response to my guidance, the unseen realm adjusts, opening paths, closing doors, shaping circumstances so that you remain within the safety of heaven. People may think your steps are merely personal choices, but in truth, they are your soul's answer to a call from above. Many times you think that being led means having no obstacles. But remember this, Moses was led, yet he still had to face the Red Sea. Joshua was led, yet he still had to march around the walls of Jericho. David was led, yet he still had to flee from Saul. I never promised that you would not see trials. I only promised that you would never enter a trial alone, and that every trial is a cradle where the strength within you grows like the wings of an eagle. There are stretches of your journey in which you feel as though you have been placed into a chamber of silence, where there are no answers, no clear directives, and no signs pointing the way. You think I am distant, but my child, it is in that silence that I am doing the most delicate work in your life. Just as a seed makes no sound when it breaks open and begins to sprout, yet life is forming in its deepest place, so in your own silent days, your soul is being rebuilt, reinforced, and drawn closer to me. Do not fear silence. I am not silent because I am far. I am silent because I am near, so near that my presence no longer needs sound for you to feel it. If you measure every moment by your reasoning, you will miss the wonders I am shaping in the hidden spaces. When I lead you, I do not lead only your body, I lead your thoughts, your habits, your way of seeing the world, your understanding of yourself. I am reshaping your entire soul so that it becomes aligned with the great intention I wrote for your life before your first cry was ever heard. And each time you lay down an old habit, an old reaction, an old fear, you climb one more rung on the ladder of those who live by revelation. My child, when I lead you, do not look only at what happens before your eyes. Look at what I am building within you. There are times when you feel you are moving slowly. There are times when everything around you seems disorderly. But in truth, it is in that slow season that I am removing everything unnecessary. It is in that disorder that I am tearing down foundations no longer suitable for where you are going. You cannot build a new structure upon fractured ground. I must dismantle the old before I establish the new. And because I see the beginning and the end simultaneously, I know which walls must fall, which stones must be removed, and which soil must be tilled so the seed can root deeply. My guidance never contradicts the peace within you. Peace is not the absence of difficulty, but the quiet certainty that I am holding all things in my hands. You may feel stretched, but your heart is not confused. You may walk through unfamiliar lands, but your spirit does not lose direction. This is the sign that you are where I am leading you. When your inward peace becomes unsettled, pause, not because you are entirely wrong, but because you need adjustment, so my voice is not drowned out by the echoes of another. There are days when I lead you through peace. There are days when I lead you through a gentle warning, and there are days when I lead you by an abrupt halt. Do not fear closed doors. A closed door is not my rejection. Often it is simply a reminder that you are knocking in the wrong place. I close doors to keep you from wandering off the path. I close doors to guard you from things not aligned with the purpose I have ordained for you. Trust that every closed door is paired with an open one you have not yet seen. I never remove anything from your life without the intention of replacing it with something better. The journey of being led also contains moments where you feel pushed into a battlefield. But in truth, most of these battles are not for you to fight. They exist to teach you how to stand still, and witness my sovereignty. Just like when Israel stood before the Red Sea. They believed they needed to fight. But I did not ask them to fight, I asked them to stand firm. Their firmness created the space for my power to be revealed. Likewise, when you feel darkness approaching, you do not need to charge into combat. Stand still. You will see the water part. You will see the path open. You will see obstacles transform into instruments that push you further. My guidance does not merely direct your steps, it strengthens your soul. Every step taken with me builds courage within you. You no longer fear the lands you once avoided. You are no longer limited by what people say. You no longer tremble under invisible threats. You are learning to walk as one who knows where you belong, belonging to the light I have placed within you. Belonging to the purpose I have written. Belonging to a love that cannot be moved. Each time you follow me, things that do not belong to you naturally fall away. Not because you strain to let them go, but because they cannot cling to a life rooted in me. Unhealthy relationships will fade. Unhelpful habits will loosen. Fears that once controlled you will lose their authority. You do not have to fight each of these individually. My presence within you will do the work. My guidance also teaches you to see deeper than the natural eye. When you look at a situation, I will show you the layer beneath the place where motives are formed. When you look at a person, I will let you sense what their spirit is emitting. When you look at a circumstance, I will show you what I am doing inside it. And when you look at yourself, I will show you potential you never imagined belonged to you. This is one of the greatest gifts of being led, your eyes being open to see through light rather than through fear. I am taking you through shifts your soul is now ready to receive. This is not a journey of stagnation, but of growth. Every step you take removes an old garment and clothes you with a new layer of glory. You think you are merely learning to trust, but in reality you are learning to becoming the person I intended you to be from the beginning. And when you become that person, you do not merely walk under guidance, you become the living testimony of that guidance. Child, continue walking not because you know the way, but because you know the one who holds your hand. Not because you are already strong, but because you are being made strong. Not because you no longer fear, but because my love within you is driving out all fear. You are walking in the right direction. You are moving along the path designed for your soul, and nothing can hinder you from reaching the place I desire to bring you to. My beloved, every step you take, every choice you make, every thought that passes through your mind affects the realm that cannot be seen. And within that realm, movements occur with a speed and force far beyond human perception. You think you are only dealing with fleeting emotions, but, in truth, you are touching waves that come from two sides, the side of light protecting you, and the side of darkness, attempting to unsettle your spirit. I do not say this to make your heart afraid, but to open your eyes to a reality that existed long before you were born. Do not imagine the invisible battlefield as a place of swords and cries. Often, it unfolds in the stillest moments, when you are about to do what is good yet something tugs you backward, when you want to move forward but suddenly feel a weight that you cannot explain, when a stranger looks at you as though they sense something far greater than who you are on the surface. These are signs that the spiritual realm is shifting around you. For a long time you assumed the difficulties you faced were merely natural reactions of life. But now I tell you the truth, your soul carries weight. Wherever there is light that belongs to me, darkness will attempt to test it, not because you are weak, but because you bear an imprint that unsettles the shadows. You are like a small pillar of fire upon the earth, not blazing enough to terrify people, yet bright enough to make unseen forces retreat. You cannot see this, but they can, and they know that the light within you does not come from you, but from me, the one they can never overcome. You imagine darkness coming to you through obvious forms, but it does not. It comes through unexplainable fatigue, through thoughts that are not your own, through doubts that did not come from your experiences, through sudden heaviness pressing on your heart like morning fog sweeping across a field. The enemy does not need a large doorway. It looks for the smallest crack in a weary mind. But my child, I have built into you spiritual mechanisms to detect its every step. You call it intuition. I call it a seal of protection. There are days when your heart feels heavy as stone, and you do not know why. My child, that is not your weakness. It is a signal that movements are occurring around you before your eyes can recognize them. And when such movements arise, I immediately command my angels to stand around you like a wall of fire. No harmful intent can penetrate that wall when you remain in my presence. Angels do not merely guard you like soldiers, they accompany you because of the great calling you carry. To help you understand this invisible battlefield more clearly, I want you to know the real conflict does not happen in circumstances, but in perception. When you believe what I have spoken, your feet stand upon solid rock. When you doubt, the rock seems to fade not because it disappears, but because your focus shifts. The enemy cannot break the foundation I have built, so he attacks your attention. He whispers vague ideas into your mind so you forget what I told you yesterday. He magnifies the small to make it look large. He beckons you to stare at a tiny crack so you forget the fortress surrounding you. But what he does not know is that I have placed within your soul the ability to recognize when a voice is not mine, even when he imitates, even when he speaks in a familiar tone, even when he wraps his lies in logic. Your soul, where my spirit dwells, will rise like a silent bell. You will feel a shift within, a subtle warning that this does not come from the light. This is how I guard you from the unseen traps, not through thunder, not through dazzling signs, but through a gentle alertness only those who belong to me can hear. My child, the invisible battlefield is not only the place where darkness attempts to stir, it is also the place where I train you to see beyond the surface. People see circumstances, but those who walk in the light see the forces moving behind circumstances. People hear words, but the anointed discern the Spirit operating through those words. People see smiles, but I allow you to see motives within the heart. I do not give you these eyes so that you will distrust everyone or fear everything. I give them so you may discern truth from deception, who I send toward you and who comes only to disrupt. Spiritual discernment is not a burden but a privilege. Through it you will never wander unknowingly into the territory of darkness. You will perceive from afar when something does not resonate with the light within you. And in that very moment, I will place before you a path of escape. This battlefield is not always where the enemy confronts you. At times, it is where I refine you. I do not refine to wound you, but to make you unshakable. Just as gold must pass through fire, as seeds must pass through darkness, as trees must endure wind to anchor their roots, so must your soul face invisible gusts to reveal what foundation you stand upon. Without challenge, you would never know the strength I have placed inside you. Do not be surprised when people suddenly change their attitude toward you without explanation. Do not be troubled when places once familiar feel uncomfortable. Do not panic when a door you believed was yours closes abruptly. These are not failures. They are signs that the battlefield is shifting. When I move you to a higher level, everything belonging to the previous level falls away. And even if you do not understand, it is deliverance, not loss. In the midst of this unseen battlefield, remember this: above all, you are not fighting alone. You are not abandoned before invisible waves. You are not exposed to the spearheads of darkness. I stand before you, behind you, above you, beneath you, and around you. Whenever darkness looks at you, it does not see you, it sees me. For I am your covering. I am the sacred garment wrapped around your soul. I am the fortress that stops every unseen arrow. Continue walking. Do not fear what your physical eyes cannot see. Do not let your heart be shaken by the sound of the wind. What you perceive as threat is merely the labored breath of darkness collapsing under its inevitable defeat. For you carry light, born of heaven, and that light does not know how to lose. And I will reveal even more to you. But before I take you deeper, I want you firmly established in this truth: you are covered by my presence, and no force has the power to pierce that covering. My beloved, the invisible battlefield is not only the place where darkness tries to stir, it is also the place where light moves with every second, every breath you take. If your spiritual eyes were fully opened, you would see streams of fire weaving like rivers, angels moving like wind, and your words, spoken in faith, becoming arrows that pierce through the thick smoke the enemy creates to obscure your vision. There are moments when you sense something pressing against your soul, not in form, not in sound, but in a heaviness that distracts your thoughts. This is when darkness attempts to brush the outer border of your life. It cannot enter, but it tries to touch the edges of your mind, hoping you will believe it is strong. It hopes that if you acknowledge its presence, you will forget mine. But darkness does not know that a single glance from me can drive it back 1,000 miles. Nor does it understand that your soul, sealed by my hand, cannot be possessed. It can only try to make you doubt. For doubt is the only thing capable of dimming the light within your eyes, not within mine. And so, on this battlefield, the enemy never aims at your soul, he aims at your perception. Let these words sink deep into your heart. Your perception determines victory or defeat far more than the circumstances you stand in. If you see yourself surrounded by angelic hosts, you will not tremble before any shadow that falls across your path. If you know that every word I have spoken forms a radiant wall around you, you will not allow nameless whispers to make your heart uneasy. But if you allow a vague thought to slip into the empty space of your weariness, you will imagine that you are under threat, when in reality, you are standing in the strongest protective circle of heaven. The truth of the spiritual realm does not depend on what you feel, but on what I decree. If I have declared you safe, then even if all the powers of darkness gather together, they cannot touch a single hair on your head. If I have declared you upheld, then even when you feel fragile, your soul is still being held by eternal strength. Darkness often uses emotions to trick you into believing reality has shifted. But I use my word to keep reality unchanging. On the invisible front line, not a single one of your prayers ever disappears. It does not dissolve into emptiness. It becomes a stream of light shooting upward, and in the very moment it leaves your lips, heaven responds. Many of the changes you see do not come because you have struggled in your own strength, but because you have spoken words that shake the spiritual realm. Prayer is not a fragile breath, it is a weapon, not a symbolic weapon, but a weapon that creates real movement. Remember, when Daniel prayed, the angel told him that from the very first day he humbled himself to seek. His words were heard, but an unseen power tried to hinder the angel from reaching him. This is not meant to frighten you, but to help you understand every prayer creates movement, and that movement is so powerful that darkness cannot remain still. It resists, not because it is stronger, but because it fears the light that prayer releases. When you open your mouth and call upon me with sincerity, all forces of darkness are compelled to retreat, for they cannot endure the heat that flows from that prayer. Every prayer is a spark striking the battle line, exposing what has been hiding, dissolving the webs being woven, and weakening secret plans. This is why on some days you feel exhausted right after you have prayed intensely, not because you are fragile, but because the spiritual realm has just gone through a tremor. Your capacity for spiritual battle does not lie in how much effort you exert, but in how firmly you stand in the truth. You do not need to chase darkness away, you only need to shine the light. Your peace is stronger than the enemy's noise. Your faith is stronger than the invisible blows. My love flowing through you is stronger than every curse. I see clearly those moments when you feel as if someone is looking into your soul with unclean intention. Those moments make your skin crawl, though no one has touched you. But my child, no gaze of darkness can pierce the cloak I have wrapped around you. They see only the surface. Your soul is hidden behind a layer of light that I do not allow anyone to reach. Anyone who plans harm against you sees that blazing wall before they ever see you. That wall is not built by your merit nor by your effort, but by my will to protect you. And that will does not shift in response to any person's words, actions, or hatred. They may think they are influencing you, but in truth they are simply standing before a door that has been locked from the inside by my own hand. At times you think you are under attack because you are weak, but the truth is the opposite. You are targeted because you carry a light that darkness wants to extinguish. Wherever light is placed, darkness will react. It does not come because you are wrong, but because you are right. It does not attack because you are fragile, but because you are important. And precisely because you are important, I have placed around you a shield no human eye can see. You must understand something even deeper on the invisible front line. It is not only darkness that moves when you step, heaven moves as well. When you walk in the right direction, angels adjust their positions, spiritual resources are reassigned, and the light spreads further, touching regions you never physically enter. You see only your small footsteps. I see a network of light expanding with each step. This is why shifts within your spirit never remain only within you. They affect your family, the people you encounter, even the lands you walk through. You do not walk merely as an individual, you walk as one who carries heavenly influence. I want you to remember this: darkness is not afraid of your words. It is afraid of how deeply you believe in mine. When you stand firm in the truth I have placed within you, darkness trembles. When you hold your peace while chaos swirls around you, darkness loses its power. When you refuse to believe hostile voices, darkness becomes invisible and powerless. You do not need to prove your strength. You only need to walk in the light, and that light will speak for itself. On this invisible front line, I am the commander. I am the protector. I am the guide. You are not a lone soldier. You are an escorted one. You are not a victim of forces. You are marked by the one who has already overcome. And as long as my light remains within you, and that light will never go out, no power can breach the walls surrounding your soul. My beloved, when I bring you into the deepest layers of this invisible front line, I want your spirit to be clear about a truth only the spiritually mature fully grasp. The real battle does not only happen around you, it also happens through you. You are not simply someone standing on the front line. You are an instrument I have placed there. When you live true to the nature I have put inside you, you are not only protected, you become a source of light that dismantles structures darkness believed were firmly rooted. For a long time you thought your only responsibility was to stand firm under trial. But now, I open your eyes to another dimension. Your very presence is a confrontation. Wherever you step, the spiritual atmosphere is recalibrated, not because you struggle to make it happen, but because the light in you automatically reshapes the space. Others may not recognize it, but darkness does. That is why at times you enter a place and do not understand why the atmosphere suddenly shifts, or why your heart feels a wave of resistance with no visible cause. This is not coincidence, it is the reaction of darkness to the entrance of light. I do more than cover you, I move through you. And when I move through a surrendered soul, darkness is no longer facing a mere human being, but the very power that proceeds from me. This is what it fears most, that light does not merely defend, but expands its territory. Remember this, every step you take on the earth leaves an imprint in the spiritual realm. No step is pointless. No moment is empty. No action is insignificant. The things you do in obedience become signals of light sent into the unseen. Every good choice you make weakens some structure of darkness. Every truthful word you speak exposes a scheme. Every act of love you extend pushes hatred back. You do not need to know everything that is happening. You only need to know that it is real. On that invisible front line, there are battles you will never see with your physical eyes. Yet they are fought because of you. There are nights you sleep peacefully because the hosts of heaven are fighting on your behalf. There are seemingly ordinary moments in which heaven has already redirected the path of something that intended to harm you. There are times when you feel an unexplained urge to leave a place that is the nudge I place in your spirit when an invisible door is opening ahead. Perception determines outcome. Your stillness in me is a declaration of victory stronger than any weapon. Darkness longs for you to react. It longs for you to fear. It longs for you to fight back in your own strength. But when you remain at rest in peace unshaken, unwilling to be pulled into emotional whirlpools, you completely collapse its strategy. It does not know what to do with a soul that will not bow. It cannot manipulate one who is not led by fear. It cannot bring down someone who does not rely on their own power. Remember what I did with Elisha when the enemy army surrounded the city. His servant trembled with fear, but Elisha was not troubled. Why? Because he saw what others could not see. And when I opened the servant's eyes, he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around. In the same way, if your spiritual eyes were fully opened, you would see around you a host so radiant that every attempt of darkness would look like nothing more than the faint rustle of passing wind. On this invisible front line, I also want to teach you a deeper truth. The strength of darkness does not lie in power, but in words. It breathes false stories into your mind. It places distorted images before your eyes. It builds scenarios that never truly existed. If you believe these words, you will create within your soul shadows I never placed there. But if you stand in the truth, even when you do not yet feel it, darkness loses the ground it needs to cling to. I give you discernment not so that you may live in suspicion, but so that you may know what is the voice of heaven and what is merely an echo of emptiness. When you hear my voice, your heart brightens as if it has inhaled a new breath of life. When you hear a strange voice, your heart grows dim. Do not chase emotions. Discern by peace. Peace is the confirmation of heaven. The power within you does not come from resisting darkness, but from agreeing with the light. Darkness cannot be defeated by its own methods. You do not need anger. You do not need curses. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to remain in me, wherever I am. Darkness vanishes without the need for swords or fire. My child, the greatest truth of the invisible battlefield is this: you do not fight in order to win, you fight from a victory that has already been decided. Darkness seeks to make you forget that. But I remind you, the battle has been settled. Light has prevailed. You are simply walking out the glory of that victory. Step by step, day by day. My beloved, now I lead you into another region of your spiritual journey, where darkness is no longer your greatest adversary, your own unrefined places are. If the previous seasons taught you to recognize the unseen battlefield and my absolute protection, then now I bring you into the most silent of wars, the war within you, where old patterns, unhealed fractures, and deeply rooted thoughts rise in quiet resistance against the new person I am forming in you. I do not only want you safe, I want you purified. I do not merely shield you from the schemes of darkness. I want to break the internal mechanisms that made you vulnerable to lies in the first place. I desire to renew you from the root, not by erasing your past, but by stripping the past of its power to define you, not by removing memories, but by healing the memories that once burdened your steps and narrowed your horizons. You think refinement is painful, but true refinement is the work of love, love that refuses to let you live a diminished life when you were created for far greater glory. There are hidden corners in your soul that even you have not dared to look into. These shadows do not make you flawed, but they hold you at an old level. They make you sensitive to people's words, quick to doubt when I am silent, easily shaken by difficulty, and prone to believing that your worth rises and falls with how others treat you. But understand this: I do not refine you to make you someone else. I refine you to restore you to the truest version of yourself, the one I designed before the world marked you with its wounds. I see the times you have asked why you had to endure loss, collapse, or long seasons of heaviness. You thought these things were random or consequences of mistakes, but in truth, they were part of the refining process, not to wear you down, but to usher you into a new stage where you can no longer carry what once imprisoned you beneath the shadow of your own past. A potter never keeps an old shape if he knows it cannot sustain the form he intends to craft. He kneads the clay, presses it, reshapes it until it becomes soft enough to take the form he desires. In the same way, I cannot lead you into the destiny I wrote for you if your inner being has not been softened through healing, not softened to be weak, but softened to be ready for the new shape. This process often happens in moments that seem ordinary, when tears fall over something that appears small, when your heart aches at something insignificant, when an old memory stirs unexpectedly. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs that I am touching the deepest layers of your soul to bring them into the light, so you no longer have to carry them silently. You once thought healing only comes when wounds are exposed clearly, but my healing often comes like a gentle breeze, touching the unseen places those no one knows, no one can reach, no one can understand except me. I know every fissure in your soul, where to support, where to remove, where to lay a new stone. Nothing in you is overlooked. Refinement is not punishment, it is preparation. I do not take you through fire to harm you, but to burn away what does not belong to you. My fire does not consume your soul, it consumes the dust that has clung to your soul over the years. The new self within you cannot emerge if the old layers remain unbroken. To do this, I sometimes separate you from things you once believed were safe. Sometimes I remove relationships that no longer nourish life. Sometimes I allow old structures to collapse so that the true foundation can stand. You feel pain because you cannot yet see the new form being shaped, but I can see it. I know it. And I am leading you to a place where your stability no longer depends on what people give you, but on my unchanging presence. There are seasons when I let you walk in silence, not because I am distant, but because I am syncing the rhythm of your heart with the rhythm of heaven. When you do not hear my voice, it is not a sign that I have stopped leading. It is a sign that I am teaching you to walk in maturity. That maturity does not come through grand signs, but through small acts of faith, choosing not to retaliate when hurt, choosing to forgive when misunderstood, choosing peace when provoked, choosing silence when challenged, choosing love when hatred is easy. I do not ask you to be perfect in this process. I ask you to be faithful. Every time you lay down an old part of yourself, I place something new in its place, stronger, brighter, steadier. I give you softness without fragility, firmness without hardness, clarity without suspicion, humility without self-contempt. My child, when you allow me to refine you, you will feel change before you see it. What once wounded you will lose its weight. Words that once haunted you will fade into insignificance. Fears that once paralyzed you will crumble without a sound. That is when you will know my fire has done its work, and then you will perceive the deepest truth. Refinement does not just transform you, it frees you. Frees you from the old self, frees you from old molds, frees you from the captivity of the past, frees you so you may walk into destiny unencumbered. I begin your season of refinement not to make you lose yourself, but to help you recover what you lost long ago, the truest shape of who you are, the shape I envisioned before the world tried to define you through pain. My beloved, now you have entered a deeper phase of refinement, where I am not only touching the visible parts of your soul, but reaching into layers you never even knew you carried. This is the journey of reformation, where the structures once governing your thoughts, reactions, and emotions begin to dissolve to make room for the new. Not the new you force into existence, but the new that comes from my hand, the one who knows the final form of your soul. You once believed your emotions were merely momentary feelings, but the truth is many emotions became the very lens through which you saw life. They became blurred mirrors distorting your vision. When I begin to reshape your inner world, I do not merely wipe the mirror clean. I replace it with a new one where your image is no longer warped by old wounds. There are seasons when it feels as though everything is being dismantled at once. Thoughts, reactions, defenses, even the familiar ways you once navigated the world. You feel as though you are losing control, but in truth, I am removing structures that decayed long ago. I cannot build a new house upon cracked foundations. I must lift each brick of your soul, examine it, cleanse it, and set it back in place so that your foundation becomes unshakable in every storm. Do not fear when old parts collapse unexpectedly. Do not interpret it as failure. When a habitual reaction disappears without effort, when anger no longer rises as before, when a long-standing fear suddenly slips away, these are signs that I am working deep within you. You are not losing anything. You are being freed from what never belonged to you. In these moments, remember, I do not merely repair, I recreate. Repairing changes the surface. Recreating changes the essence. You are not being rebuilt to become less hurt. You are being remade to become enduring as the rock, gentle as water, soft yet powerful, still yet mighty. My aim is not to help you survive trials, but to shape you into one who is no longer shaped by trials, one who uses trials as stepping stones into greater things. There are memories in you that never vanish, but they lose their power. Refinement does not erase memory. Refinement puts memory in its rightful place. When you remember without pain, when you revisit without being dragged backward, When you look at the past with healed eyes, that is reformation. You no longer see yourself as the wounded one, but as the one who has overcome. And those who overcome do not live from old stories, they live from a new nature. There are moments when you ask, "Why must I face the things I thought I had already buried?" I answer, because whatever has not been brought into the light will continue to operate in the dark. It shapes decisions you assume are random. It drives emotions you think are natural. It influences the way you love, the way you trust, the way you set boundaries. I do not expose these things to make you hurt, but to shatter the hidden power they hold. And each time an old layer is peeled away, you will find yourself lighter, brighter, freer. This process sometimes makes you feel as though you are losing something, but the loss of refinement is not like the loss of the world. The world takes to leave you empty. I take to make room for what is better. The world takes to punish. I take to restore. The world takes to reduce. I take to multiply. Certain relationships leave you because they no longer fit the new person I am forming in you. Certain habits fall away because they are no longer compatible with the maturity you are stepping into. Old expectations are removed because they are too small to contain the future I am preparing. I do not only refine your soul, I refine the way you see yourself. I want you to see yourself as I see you, not as people have labeled you, not as past judgments have defined you, not as the flaws you once despised in yourself. I see in you a strength you have not yet seen. I see in you a gentleness the world has never truly touched. I see in you a capacity to rise beyond every old limitation. I see in you a light far greater than what human eyes can measure. As I reshape your inner world, I lead you to a place where you no longer depend on human approval. Praise will not lift you up. Criticism will not pull you down. You will stand on a foundation more solid than feelings, more stable than time. That foundation is the truth I speak over you. There are moments when you feel as though I am keeping you in the furnace longer than others. You wonder why it seems easier for them, while you must walk the long road. But you do not see what I see. You do not know how much inner strength the future I have written for you will require. You do not know how high you will stand, and those who stand high must have deep roots. The deeper the roots go, the steadier the tree stands in the storm. You are being planted to bear fruit for long seasons, not just for a fleeting moment. The most important thing I want you to understand in this stage is this reformation is not destruction, it is preparation for glory. I am resetting every stone within you. I am rebuilding the walls worn down by the winds of life. I am reinforcing the places that once cracked. I am widening the spaces that fear has narrowed. You are becoming someone whom darkness cannot control, and through whom light can be revealed in fullness. Let me continue. Do not rush out of the furnace while the work is still unfinished. Do not insist on leaving the process while your soul is still being shaped. For when I am done, you will look back and know that not a single moment was wasted. Every tear, every long night, every quiet confrontation within yourself, each has become bedrock for the version of you that is emerging. And then you will see refinement does not make you smaller. Refinement makes you wider, deeper, stronger, brighter. You are being prepared for something beyond your imagination, and you will step into it with an inner life completely remade. My beloved child, if the early days of this process left you confused, now your soul is beginning to recognize a deeper truth. The fire did not come to destroy you, but to reveal the precious metal hidden inside you. I have watched every movement in your heart. I see the days when you no longer react as you once did. I see how things that used to shake you now only brush the surface and go no further. I see how words that once pierced you now have no power. This is not because you have become numb. but because you have been reshaped. What once strangled you has been removed. What once terrified you has been broken. What once made you stumble has become the place where you stand firm. Refinement does not create a new strength. It uncovers the strength I placed in you from the beginning. The fire only melts away the outer casing so that you can see what I have always seen. And when you glimpse it, you will understand why I allowed you to walk through seasons that felt unbearable. Not so you would merely endure, but so you would discover the true depth of your own soul. I want you to grasp an important truth. Inner reformation does not only change you, it gives you authority. Authority to say to fear, you no longer have a place here. Authority to say to doubt, I know to whom I belong. Authority to say to deception, that word is not from the one who is true. Authority to say to darkness, you cannot cross the boundary God has set. This authority does not come from force, it comes from transformation within. Those who have not walked through the fire cannot speak to the storm and tell it to be still. But those who have been refined carry a peace that no storm can topple. That peace is the evidence that you have been reshaped, not so that life can control your inner world, but so that your inner world can govern how you walk through life. The things that once frightened you now make you stronger. The words that once weakened you now cause you to stand taller. The circumstances that once made you run now motivate you to advance. This does not happen because circumstances have changed, but because you have changed. True maturity is not that life becomes easier, but that you are no longer shaken by the same trials. In this season, I begin to change the way you see yourself. Before, you saw yourself through the eyes of others and that dimmed you. Now, you are beginning to see yourself through the light I have placed within you, and that causes you to shine. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth through words or actions. You no longer seek validation from places that once disappointed you. You stand in the truth that your worth does not come from what you do, but from the one who has chosen you. My child, refinement has pulled you out of the spiral of self-judgment. It has lifted from you the burdens you carried unknowingly, the expectations that were never yours, the responsibilities you took on because you thought you had to please everyone, the accusations the world carelessly laid on you. Now your soul is light as breath, not because there is less to do, but because you are no longer carrying what was never meant for you. As I reshape your inner life, I also give you a new sensitivity, a kind of spiritual perception not everyone will understand. You begin to recognize what to keep and what to release. You hear my voice in small movements, not only in great signs. You sense the misalignment of a thought before it becomes fear. You recognize an unhealthy relationship before it turns into a burden. You know when to stop without me having to shout. This is the level of maturity, not chasing every call, but choosing the right one, not reacting to every impulse, but guarding peace as your compass, not fearing wrong steps, but knowing that every step remains under my guidance as long as your heart stays soft. There is a moment in the refining process that I call the moment of transition. It is when you clearly feel that you no longer belong to your old self, yet you have not fully stepped into your new self. You stand between two seasons, not carrying the old weight, yet not fully walking in the new clarity. You feel light, yet unfamiliar. You feel at peace, yet slightly disoriented. Do not fear that moment. It is the sign that you are being lifted to a new level. You are like clay that has just left the potter's hands, already kneaded again, already bearing a clearer form, yet still needing time to harden into its finished version. I am not in a hurry to thrust you into the next stage. I give you time to breathe, to absorb, to stabilize, not because you are weak, but because I want this new form to bind firmly to your inner being. And then one day, not with thunder, not with signs and wonders, but with a gentle awakening, you will realize you are no longer the person you once were. You no longer react as you once did. You no longer think as you once did. You no longer fear what the old you used to fear. You have become an entirely new version of yourself, deeper, more mature, more resilient, and more beautiful in my eyes. Refinement brings you to the place where you can stand firm in the midst of storms without trembling. Love in the midst of wounding without demanding repayment. Forgive in the midst of injustice without resentment. And move forward in the midst of uncertainty without losing your peace. The one who reaches this place is not merely healed. They are positioned in a realm of inner strength, a strength that darkness cannot touch and people cannot define. My child, this is the end of one season, but also the beginning of a new dimension of glory. You have walked through fire and were not destroyed. You have walked through darkness and did not lose your light. You have walked through pain and did not lose your kindness. Now you stand where I have wanted you to stand, where a soul has been completely reshaped, strong in gentleness, steady in peace, vast in love. And from this place, I will lead you into a new chapter, where you are not only guided, but also carry within you the power to heal, uplift, and illuminate souls that are weary in this life. My beloved child, this is the season in which you no longer walk merely to find yourself again, but to recognize your place within the tapestry of glory I am weaving across the earth. Many live their entire lives without knowing why they were born. They pass through the years like travelers without a map, and when they reach the end, they realize they have missed what was most precious. But you are not like that. You have been awakened, guided, protected, refined not to live an ordinary life, but to bear a sacred role that heaven itself ordained for you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Every soul created carries its own distinct tone in the great symphony of creation. But not every soul allows that tone to be heard. Many let fear choke the song within them. Many let wounds steal the melody that was once so beautiful. But now, after you have been recreated from the root, you are ready to resound in the universe at the very frequency I placed within you. Do not think the role I give you is merely a job or a duty. This role goes deeper than any title people give one another. It is born from your very nature, from what you carry, from the light you emit, from the peace that flows out of your heart, from the way your very presence changes the atmosphere around you. You do not need to stand on a high platform to be seen. You do not need to shout to be heard. You do not need to put on a show to prove your worth. Simply by being yourself in the light I give, your role has already begun to operate. I want you to know that for a soul to step into its role, it must learn to remain in the light even when the world tries to pull it off course. A role is not entrusted to someone who has not yet overcome themselves, but to one who knows how to rise after each fall and keep their eyes fixed on me. And that is you, the one who walked through the valley of shadows without letting the shadows define you, the one who walked through loss without letting loss dry up your ability to love, the one who walked through trials and let them strengthen rather than break you. Now I unveil to you what I have long prepared. You are the one who carries light into spaces others do not notice. You are the one who brings peace into places where minds are in turmoil. You are the one who sows hope into souls on the verge of burning out. You are the one who stands like a pillar when others shake in the storm. Not by your own strength, not by your own talent, but by the presence I pour into you. When I speak of role, I am not speaking of employment, I am speaking of influence. A role is what radiates out from you without striving. A role is the orbit your life creates through the presence, wisdom, and peace I give you. People may not have a name for this role, but the spiritual realm recognizes it clearly. And when you step into any space, that space knows that light has just arrived. Do you remember Moses when he came down from the mountain? His face shone, not because he had done something great, but because he had been with me. He did not try to make others notice the light spread on its own. That is the image of the role you are now ready to carry. Not a light that forces itself, not a light that shows off, but a light as soft as breath and as deep as the ocean, a light that makes darkness retreat even before you speak. Your role is not to fight, but to be present. Those who have not been refined feel the need to argue, to prove, to defend themselves. Those who have been refined only need to stand because the peace within them is already a declaration. You were created to become such a person, one whom darkness cannot touch, because they carry within themselves a peace that cannot be stolen. You are the bearer of a fire of restoration, not a loud, flashy restoration, but one that spreads quietly, not a momentary healing, but a healing that endures, not a change in others by coercion, but by a presence that makes hearts desire renewal. You become a place where the weary come to find hope again. You become a place where wavering souls find their center again. You become a mirror in which anyone who looks can see that their value is still intact, even if life has scratched them. My child, the greater your role, the more I must refine you, not because you are inadequate, but because you carry the weight of glory. Glory is not the external brilliance that fades, but the inner power that radiates outward. Glory is not the sound of praise, but the life that flows from a soul remade. Glory is not a beauty that withers, but a light that does not go out. You were created to carry that light. You have been prepared to bear that glory. You have been set apart from small things to step into what is great. From now on, I want you to begin seeing yourself not only as one who has been healed, but as one who has been sent. You do not merely overcome darkness, you become proof that light wins. You are not just restored, you become an instrument that brings restoration wherever you go. You are not just standing firm, you become a place of refuge for souls that are trembling. I do not place this role upon you as a burden. I place it within you as something natural, like a tree that, once strong enough, naturally casts shade, like a river that, once deep enough, naturally waters the lands through which it flows. This is only the beginning of revelation. You will see your heart broaden, your spiritual eyes open to perceive what others miss, and your steps carry the imprint of heaven. You are entering a time when I will not only lead you, but also reveal you like a lamp set on its stand, like a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. Prepare your heart. A new chapter is opening, a chapter of glory, of heavenly influence, of the role written for you before the ages began. My beloved child, the mission of a chosen soul is never confined to the boundaries of its personal life. When I place light in you, that light is not meant only to illuminate a small room. It is destined to shine over a territory your eyes have yet to see. Many think a mission must be grand, loud, and dazzling. But the true mission begins with quiet steps, with silent conversations between me and your soul, with small decisions filled with obedience. And from those small things, a new orbit forms around your life, an orbit that influences anyone who steps into it. There are 3 layers of influence that the chosen must understand. The first layer, invisible influence. This is the deepest layer, where your soul touches another soul without a single word, When you carry within you the peace that comes from me, that peace spreads like a fragrance into the air. The anxious feel it without knowing its source. The despairing suddenly sensed a bit of warmth. The one about to collapse finds themselves standing a little steadier. You think it is a coincidence. It is not. It is a spiritual operation. I use you as a quiet stream in a silent desert. I use you as a gentle breeze carrying the breath of restoration. I use you as a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, so that the wandering may see the way home. No creed is needed. No slogans. No debate. Your very presence is already light. The strength of this layer of influence does not lie in what you do, but in who you are. And you can only move in this layer when your inner life has been refined. When you no longer seek acceptance from people. When you live from the well of peace I placed within you, and not from the fluctuations around you. The second layer, influence through words and posture. Every word you speak in this new season carries more weight than before, not because you try to make it strong, but because your soul has become pure. When the soul is pure, words naturally carry power. A gentle sentence from an anointed person can save a soul on the verge of collapse. A small gesture of kindness can heal a wound someone has hidden in their heart for many years. A well-timed affirmation can pull a soul back from the edge of despair. My child, this is the very power of words when they flow from a life that has been reshaped. The world argues to win, the anointed speak to lift. The world uses words to wound. Those who belong to me use words to restore. And I place into your hands this privilege, the privilege of using your words as instruments of healing, not weapons of harm. In this new role, you will find yourself speaking words you did not plan beforehand. They will rise naturally, like a spring bursting from deep within. This is not your intellect speaking. It is I speaking through you. The third tier, influence through action and steadfastness. This is the tier where your calling becomes most visible, not through grand gestures, but through unwavering decisions anchored in truth. When you stand firm in the midst of trial without losing your footing, others will see a strength they cannot find elsewhere. When you choose love over bitterness, they will see the path out of their own wounds. When you choose forgiveness, when the world expects retaliation, they will know your heart has been touched by something beyond this earth. People do not change because they were lectured. They change because they see a living example. And you are that example, not perfect, but genuine, not naive, but wise, not arrogant, but grounded, not loud, but authoritative. Remember this, your role is not to dominate, but to guide, not to elevate yourself, but to elevate others, not to be served, but to restore the world in the way I appoint. My child, your new role will carry 3 signs. 1. You will rise above the volatility of people, not because of ego, but because you now stand at a different spiritual altitude. Criticism will not shrink you. Praise will not inflate you. You will be steady like an ancient tree, not because there is no wind, but because your roots run deep in me. 2. You will become sensitive to spiritual frequencies. You will recognize a soul in need without them speaking. You will discern when a place is cloaked in darkness even if everything appears normal. You will sense when a word carries an unclean motive even if it comes wrapped in a smile. This is not intuition. This is the gift of discernment I give to those entrusted with a mission. 3. You will begin to influence people you never expected. Souls beyond your natural circles. People you have never met. Hearts weary and wandering who seek the light without knowing that the light is carried in you. Even darkness will recognize your new position, and it will not confront you as before. It will no longer attack openly, for it knows you stand on ground too firm to shake. It will attempt subtlety, distraction, small disturbances meant to blur your focus. But, my child, as long as you hold your peace, every strategy of darkness will dissolve into nothing. Your mission does not begin tomorrow. It began the moment you were reshaped. And from this point forward, you will step into the season where I reveal you to the world, not for the world to praise, but for the world to be healed. My beloved child, now that you understand your role, influence, and the new sphere of operation I have placed before your heart, I want to bring you to the final threshold of revelation, a steady awareness that you were destined to be a sign of light in an age trembling with confusion. Not merely one who carries light, but one who shapes the spiritual atmosphere, a stabilizing point toward which many souls will turn. The age you live in is far from silent. Beneath its ordinary appearance are invisible currents raging fear, chaos, restless searching, parched souls longing for direction. And it is precisely in such a time that I have raised you up, not with trumpet blasts or public acclaim, but with patient refining, so you might stand as a living witness that light still exists. Truth is not lost, and love never fades. What I give you is not a title but a mark no one can erase, a mark no darkness can touch, a mark no whisper can diminish. This mark is carved into your very nature, the deepest part of your soul, where my hand rested to imprint a portion of myself upon you. And so, when you walk, it is not only you who walks, the mark walks with you. My child, there are 3 final dimensions of your new role that you must understand to operate fully in this season. 1. You will become a transformer of the atmosphere. I speak this with solemn weight when you carry light. You do not only affect people, you affect spaces. A tense room will settle when you enter. A conversation on the verge of breaking will soften when you speak. A chaotic mind will regain clarity simply by being near you. You do very little outwardly, yet the spiritual realm recognizes my presence in you. And by the laws of the Spirit, where light appears, darkness must retreat. This is why I refined your heart so long. You cannot transform an atmosphere outwardly if your inner world is still in disarray. Only a soul ordered by peace and truth can emit such a pure resonance. From now on, I want you to be aware that your presence is not merely present, but authoritative, not a dominating authority, but one that causes darkness to shrink back. Not an authority to control people, but to sustain an environment in light. The change flows not from outward actions, but from the spiritual frequency you carry. This is a quiet power, one reserved for the refined. 2. You will become a refuge for wandering souls. In this season, people will begin to seek you out, not because you call them, nor because you try to project power. They will come because their souls recognize in you something they long for. Some will not put it into words. Some will not know why they feel safe around you. Some will sit in your presence and feel their heart's ease. This is how your calling functions. You become an anchor for those who are drifting, not because you are stronger, but because you have faced what they are now facing. Not because you know more, but because you once looked up to me from the depths. Not because you are better, but because you were once broken and I lifted you. People do not trust theories. They trust the residue of a battle won. They trust the light that remains after a long night. They trust the peace flowing from a heart once torn, but now whole. My child, you will not try to help. you will simply be a living testimony. And a living testimony needs no words, it speaks on its own. 3. You will become a gatekeeper of spiritual territory. This is the deepest part of the revelation, reserved only for those who have endured refinement. In the spiritual realm, there are invisible territories assigned to certain souls, territories not measured by maps, but by influence. One person may guard their family, another may guard their community, another may guard souls who cannot yet pray, another may guard an entire region. And, my child, you are one of those with such a calling, not to dominate, but to protect, not to control, but to prevent darkness from entering spaces not yet strong enough to resist, not to hold power, but to watch the gates like a sentinel on ancient walls. Many do not understand the role of a gatekeeper. They think it is a burden, but in reality, it is a sign of heaven's trust. I do not assign this to those unrefined, for they tire quickly, waver easily, or lose peace under pressure. I entrust it to those who stand firm in the wind, keep their hearts pure in storms, and refuse to let fear dictate their decisions. My child, gatekeeping means guarding the atmosphere, guarding purity, guarding the voice of truth, guarding the flame of light within the territory entrusted to you. You do not need to know its full boundaries, you only need to stand in the right place, in the right posture, with the right heart, and I will handle the rest. Your role cannot be replaced, not because you are superior to anyone else, but because this role was woven uniquely to the architecture of your soul, like a garment tailored to fit only one body. If someone else wore it, it would feel too tight or too loose. And if you did not wear it, your own essence would feel incomplete. The role and the soul were designed together, inseparable. Therefore, do not compare yourself to anyone. Do not imagine that others carry a greater mission. Do not think you must resemble someone else. Here is what I want you to always remember: your new role functions through stillness. Not passive silence, but a soul that stands firm in authority. Not avoidance, but steadiness without strain. Not performance, but allowing the light within you to spread naturally. You are strong without aggression, deep without complication, steady without rigidity, gentle without fragility. These are the signs of one who has passed through refinement. Walk forward, firm, peaceful, radiant, for from now on, you are not only living your life, you are shaking invisible boundaries by the very peace you carry. My beloved child, I want to open before you a new horizon, a dimension unseen by mortal eyes, yet perceivable to a soul that has been refined. If you have walked through seasons of healing, discernment, growth, and being placed into the role of a bearer of light, then now I desire to lead you into something deeper than them, all the union between your soul and the eternal will. This is not an ending point, but a doorway into a reality where you live, not merely by your own breath, but by the breath of the one who formed you. Deep within every person lies a hollow that no earthly pleasure or accomplishment can fill. People search for its answer in applause, in fragile relationships, in fading successes, yet none of these bring true satisfaction. That hollow is not a flaw, but my silent invitation to your soul, a call to return to where it belonged from the beginning. Like deserts longing for rain, like parched soil longing for water, your soul longs for communion with me, and only when it touches the eternal source of life will it find the peace that no wind can steal away. I do not call you to me through fear or burden. I call you through stillness. My child, The union I invite you into is not a distant relationship between a king and a servant, nor the strained effort of someone trying to please a higher power. This union is when you and I move in one rhythm, the rhythm of truth, the rhythm of love, the rhythm of spiritual breath. When you step into that place, your own will ceases to push you down aimless paths. In that harmony, your soul begins to understand that the divine will is not a riddle to solve, but an inner path that unfolds slowly each time you become still. To enter this union, I do not require perfection, only willingness. Just open your heart, and I will do the rest. When you stop trying to fix everything alone, I can draw nearer. When you let go of fear, I can bring in my light. When you allow me to reshape the hidden corners of your heart, I can kindle in you a flame no storm can extinguish. Union does not come from striving upward, but from surrendering into my presence. In this season, I want you to sense my presence not as something far away, but as something woven into every breath you take. I have heard your prayers asking me to come closer, but my child, I never left. I have been in the rhythm of your heartbeat, in the brightness of your gaze, in the peace that slips into your mind in moments that seem accidental. When you slow down and listen, you will feel a gentle touch like a passing breeze that is my shadow resting upon your soul. When your heart is quiet, you will hear a wordless echo within, that is my voice. As union becomes clearer, you will notice a deep inner shift. The things that once confused you will become clear, not because you found sharper logic, but because your soul has stepped into the frequency of truth. You will know the right path not by analysis, but by alignment. You will discern what does not belong to you, not by fear, but by stillness. When a soul has united with its source, it instinctively knows its direction, like birds knowing when to fly, like the sea knowing when the tide must rise. The union I lead you into does not erase your identity. On the contrary, it reveals it, like a stone long covered in dust, revealing its beauty when washed by spring water. Your soul, when placed in my light, will unveil qualities you never knew were there. The weaknesses you once hid will become places where my strength is displayed. The wounds you thought were flaws will become testimonies of my mercy. The shortcomings that once made you ashamed will become spaces where I pour wisdom. You will learn an art the world does not understand, the art of resting while moving. You will work without growing weary, for my strength will be operating within you. You will stand before trials without trembling, for my peace will guard your mind. You will face the future without anxiety, for you know that the one who holds the future also holds your heart. I have never left you, even when you thought you had wandered far. I am the one who patiently holds the thread between us. Even when you wish to let go, I have waited for you in tears and lifted you up in silence. I have seen the fear in your heart and breathed courage into it. I have known the wounds in your soul and prepared healing oil before they ever formed. All of this was to bring you to this moment, the moment you realize that you do not merely belong to me, you move in harmony with me. When you see life through this lens of union, you will love others with a love that does not tire. You will judge less, for you know everyone battles things unseen. You will fear less, for nothing occurs outside my embrace. You will doubt less, for you will know all things are being directed toward good for every soul that walks in the light. This is only the beginning of the union I will lead you into. There is yet another depth deeper than dawnlight, wider than the ocean, where you will understand why I placed you in this era, where you will see the glory I have prepared, where you will live not merely with me, but in me. My beloved child, now that you have begun stepping into the profound union I prepared for you, I want to lead you even further beyond understanding, beyond emotion, into the dimension of eternal operation where your soul moves within the wordless rhythm of heaven. In this depth, you will no longer sense me merely beside you, but as a living current flowing through every thought, every vibration, every step you take. This union does not arrive with a flash of brilliance, but like sunrise spreading across a hill, soft, gentle, yet full of transformative power. My child, there were seasons when I allowed you to walk through darkness so you could learn to trust the light. But in this season, I want you to learn how to live as the light. This is not forced upon you. It is the natural maturity of a soul refined until it no longer depends on external calm to find internal peace. You will notice something wondrous and true. Your peace will no longer arise from quiet surroundings, but from harmony within a realm I am creating in you, untouched by darkness. As this union clarifies, you will sense a new stability in your spirit, a depth you have never tasted before. The things that once made you sway will lose their power. Words that once hurt will pass through you like wind over a meadow. Storms that once terrified you will become mere ripples on the surface of a vast sea. Not because you have hardened, but because I am expanding your soul to the point where nothing can break it. In this union, I want you to realize that you are not merely being guided, you are being joined to the movement of heaven's will. You no longer just follow me, you will walk with me. No longer only hear and obey, you will perceive and live. Some things will need no explanation, you will simply know. Some paths will need no sign, you will simply recognize them. For when a soul is united with its source, it flows instinctively toward its purpose. As a river flows toward the sea without needing a map, many souls seek grand revelations, loud words, spectacular signs. But I want you to understand that eternal operation is not noisy. It is not like thunder, it is like breath. It is not like lightning, it is like dawn. It does not push, it invites. It does not force, it frees. And within that gentleness, a resilient strength is growing inside you, a strength born from the unbreakable bond between your heart and mine. From here, you will notice changes in the way you think. Thoughts born from anxiety will fade, replaced by clarity. What once made you hesitate will now become obvious, not because you found better arguments, but because your soul has stepped into the frequency of truth. At times, you will receive answers like a soft whisper, yet carrying the weight of timeless wisdom. That is the moment I am teaching you to operate with heavenly intuition, an intuition not born of instinct, but of union. When union grows deeper, you will recognize something beautiful. I am not only leading you, I am widening your vision so you can see everything from my perspective. You will see that the things you once feared are no longer frightening. The trials you once thought were obstacles will turn out to be doors that led you into maturity. The people who once hurt you will no longer stir pain within you, because your heart has been lifted above old entanglements. When the heart is lifted, you no longer look at life through limited eyes, but through the gaze of freedom. Union does not erase your identity. On the contrary, it makes your true essence more clearly revealed than ever. Just as a tree that has drunk enough water will naturally give off fragrance, just as ripe grain will naturally bow its head, so your soul, when it steps into eternal harmony, will naturally reveal what I placed in you from the beginning. You do not become like someone else. You become fully yourself, the version you were always created to be. Never distorted by fear, never buried under wounds, never strangled by the pressure to please anyone. Union in this season also brings another gift. You will learn how to rest even while you work. You will learn how to be still even as you walk. You will learn how to hear my voice right in the noise of life. For union does not come from withdrawing from the world, but from keeping an inner space where the world cannot touch you. In that space, every burden grows light. Every decision becomes clear. Every fear grows small. Every joy grows deep. When your soul steps into this depth, you will see that I have never left you. Not when you stood, not when you fell, not when you doubted, not when you were weary. I have always faithfully held the cord between you and me, even when you loosened your grip. And now, as you have grown enough to hold that cord with all your love, I want you to walk with me not as one who runs after the light, but as one who carries the light as part of their very nature. From here, union will extend into the way you see others. You will judge less, because you understand that everyone is carrying wounds that have not yet been healed. You will be less angry, because you know that anger is often just the outer shell of deep pain. You will be less confused, because you know that every soul is walking a path I am quietly watching over. And above all, you will love more deeply, not with shallow sentiment, but with a love nourished by the light I have placed within you. And when your heart loves with that light, you become part of an eternal work, a work not built by human hands, not measured by accomplishments, not recorded by fame, but inscribed in the depths of the spiritual realm, where only what belongs to love can endure. This is the second step of union, the step where you begin to live not only with me, but in me. The next passages will lead you into an even higher brightness, where you will understand why I placed you in this era, why I let you walk through each trial, and why your soul carries a kind of light that no darkness can extinguish. My beloved child, I want to reveal to you something profound. I have long been quietly preparing. The union I am leading you into is not just an experience, not just a season, but a way of life, an eternal current where your soul is immersed in me, no longer dragged off course by fading trends, no longer twisted by invisible voices, no longer governed by the unstable rhythms of this world. You have gone through storms, through long nights, through seasons of refinement. Now is the time for you to stand still in the light of a new reality. You and I are so bound together that darkness can no longer find a foothold between us. My child, once you thought the spiritual journey was simply a sequence of times when I rescued you from danger, kept you from evil, helped you overcome hardship. That is true, and I still do these things. But that is not all. My deepest purpose is not just to steer you through the waves, but to bring you to the place where you can walk on the water without trembling, because your eyes are fully fixed on me. I do not only want you to know me as the deliverer, I want you to know me as the one in whom you live and move and have your being. When you understand this, your soul stops struggling to hold itself together and begins to move in the gentle yet powerful flow of my will. In this depth, you no longer evaluate your life by what physical eyes can see. You no longer measure the value of a day by what happens outwardly. Instead, you begin to measure with another scale. Am I in you? Am I keeping my heart soft to your whisper? Am I allowing the truth you speak to be louder than the noise around me? Then you will discover what many seek all their lives and never find peace is not the absence of turbulence, but being anchored in one who never changes. At the deepest level of union, I do more than touch your fears to comfort them. I touch the very roots that once caused you to fear. I do more than wipe away tears. I touch the places that made you weep. I do more than bandage wounds. I reset the structure of your heart so it is no longer as fragile as before. That is why you have had to go through many cycles of testing, through situations that seemed repetitive, through similar lessons that made you wonder why you still had to face them. It is not because I make things hard for you, but because I want to go deeper each time, until there is no place left where darkness can reattach its claws. Now, as you stand here, I want you to look back over the path you have walked, not with regret, but with eyes filled with light. You will see there were times that seemed like abandonment, but in truth I was carrying you in my arms. There were times you thought you had nothing left, but in those very moments I was taking away what had long held you back. There were times you believed you had failed, but later you will see they were simply gateways. I used to open new roads. When you view your journey in the light of this day, you will know that no stretch was meaningless, no day was wasted, and not a single tear fell without producing something eternal within your soul. In complete union, you begin to understand why I placed you in this exact moment of history. I did not accidentally drop you into a world full of turmoil. I did not mistakenly cause you to be born in an age overshadowed by fear, deception, and anxiety. I placed you precisely here, in this context, in this generation, because you carry a kind of light this time in history desperately needs. You are not a speck of dust drifting on the current of life. You are a spark set in the right place, at the right time, to shine for souls who think there is no path left. When you are united with me, you will stop asking the questions that once weighed your heart down. Why is my life like this? Why did I have to endure those things? Why am I not like others? Instead, you will begin to hear another question, gentler, deeper, rising from within. Now that you are here, will you walk with me to do something with all that you have lived through? Because, my child, in my hands, everything that once hurt you can become a seed of healing for others. Every scar in you can become a passage of hope for someone else. Every dark page in your story can become a lantern for those wandering in their own night. This union will also change how you see the future. Before, you looked ahead with fear, weighing every possibility, imagining the worst scenarios. Now you will begin to see the future as a wide field where I have gone ahead of you, clearing the path, marking the way, and sowing opportunities you cannot yet imagine. Not every day ahead will be easy, but every day will have me in it. Not every stretch of road will be smooth, but at every bend there will be sufficient grace. Not every voice you hear will be gentle, but amid all the noise, you will recognize mine, the voice that has carried you through so many storms. Union does not mean you will never stumble again. It means that every time you waver, you will return more quickly, more deeply, and more maturely. Every time you feel lost, you will remember you have a home to come back to. Every time you feel tired, you will know there is a warm chest for you to lean against. Every time you feel weak, you will not use it to despise yourself, but as a reminder that you were never made to live disconnected from your source. And then there will be moments, in the midst of the most ordinary parts of your day, when a truth will suddenly make your heart tremble. You are living in me, and I am living in you. No dramatic event required, no grand declaration needed. Just a quiet instant in the middle of the day, when you sense your heart soften, your eyes grow moist, and a whisper rises from the depths. I am here. I have never been anywhere else, and you belong to me. When that moment comes, let it flood you completely, for that is the breath of eternity passing through the doorway of your open heart. From this place of union, everything you do can become a prayer, a compassionate glance, a gentle word, a choice to forgive, a step taken in peace among confused people. All of these are beams of light linking earth and heaven. You do not need to be in a quiet place to connect with me. You can walk through the marketplace of life and still keep a sanctuary within, where only you and I meet. I want you to carry this as an unshakable conviction. You are not only saved by me, not only protected by me, not only taught by me, you are loved by me to such a degree that I want to share with you the very beating of my heart. That is why I did not abandon you halfway. That is why, even when you doubted, I remained patient. That is why, even when you stepped back, I waited to take your hand again. My love for you is not only the love of a giver, it is the love of one who longs for union. So walk forward from here with a new confidence. You no longer need to live as someone always afraid that evil will reach them. Live as one who knows they are being held in the arms of the one whom nothing can overcome. You do not need to shrink back for fear that darkness is watching you. Shine, for you were born to do so. You do not need to prove that you are strong as long as you cling to me. My strength will be enough for you. You do not need to worry about losing your way. My hand holds you more firmly than all your efforts to hold on to me. My beloved child, remember this as the final seal upon your journey. You are not abandoned, not forgotten, not left to fend for yourself amid unseen waves. You are held within a love stronger than every fear, wider than every mistake, deeper than every abyss. You are destined not merely to live a handful of earthly years, but to carry within you the breath of eternity even while walking through this temporary world. Every time your heart trembles at my presence, eternity is touching the present moment. Every time you trust me in what you do not yet understand, you are stepping into a realm of light nothing can overshadow. Rest in this truth. Walk forward with your head lifted not in pride, but in the confidence of one who knows they are upheld. Love deeply, forgive widely, live lightly, and cling to me with your whole heart. For when you walk in union with me, no darkness is thick enough to hide the light rising from within you. You belong to me, and no power can alter that. Thank you for listening to today's message. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so we may continue receiving the living word together, building unshakable faith, and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.